to you about, talk to all of us about Shelley Mann, I guess, and My Fair Lady.
Yes, that's where I thought we'd start today, kind of building off of what we did on Friday. So once again, I was asked to pick out a record that I could talk about, was very influential for me in many different ways. And this is actually a record that was made in 1964. Well, first, how many of you have had a chance to listen to it by now? Can I see? Everybody else hasn't had a chance to listen to it. A couple people aren't. Okay, well, if you haven't gotten a chance to listen to it, I highly recommend it. I think it's really one of the best records ever made. I would put it in a class with Kind of Blue and John Coltrane's Impressions and Live at the Village Vanguard with Bill Evans. To me, it is just a incredible monument, or just an incredible bit of writing and arranging and also performing. How many of you have seen either the movie or the play, the musical, My Fair Lady? No? Wow. So I'm assuming also that nobody's ever played the score in like a musical in a pit band or anything.
I have.
Okay. I assume that you have.
I've seen it, but I haven't played anything from it.
It's seen the movie or the stage play?
The movie.
Okay. Well, the movie was made in 1964. The play was done, the musical was done in the 50s. The original play was written by George Bernard Shaw, based on Pygmalion. And he wrote that, I believe, in the early part of the 20th century. And it was a pretty popular play. And then they made it into a musical, and it was a very popular musical. And then in 1964, they did a very large budget Hollywood production of the musical, starring Audrey Hepburn and Rex Harrison in the two lead roles. And for those of you who aren't familiar with it, it's a story about a professor who happens upon a woman selling flowers that has terrible English and diction. And he makes a bet with a friend that he could pass her off as a duchess or a countess at a party if he had some time to work with her. So it's basically about the education of this young woman. And that story has been used many, many times in many different situations. But anyway, so they made the musical in 1964, and it was a huge hit. And so as was being done by a lot of jazz musicians, as we kind of touched on Friday, they took selections from the musical and rearranged them and then recorded them. Now, the biggest difference between this record and the record that we discussed on Friday is the record that we discussed on Friday was a trio album by the Oscar Peterson Trio, and this album is by a percussionist and a drummer named Shelley Mann, who was really a jazz superstar, even though he never really got that popular recognition that some other people got, mostly because later on in his life, he stuck mostly to studio recordings, but he was very, very active as a band leader and did a lot of things. So his group, or he was asked to put together a group and to record a version of this for a small band. Now, let's see, they're only 1, 2, 3, 4. There are like 15 people in this band, but it's an unusual, because as all of you probably know, a big band normally has 5 trumpets or 4 trumpets, 4 trombones and 5 saxophones. This only has 2 or 3 saxophones, 5 trumpets, 2 trombones, tuba, French horn. So it's a very unusual instrumentation. So what I'd like to do is just listen to the very first part of this, and then we'll talk about it on the other side.
Give me 1 second.
Okay, no problem.
We can't hear the audio right now.
Yeah, I was going to say, is the audio coming through? I can't hear it either.
Let's try it one more time.
Okay.
That working? Did you hear it?
It worked for a little while and then it cut out.
Okay.
There we go.
Look at her, a prisoner of the gutters, condemned by every syllable she utters. By right she should be taken out and hung for the cold-blooded murder of the English tongue. This is what the British population calls an elementary education. Why can't the English teach their children how to speak? This verbal class distinction by now should be antique. If you spoke as she does, sir, instead of the way you do, why, you might be selling flowers too. An Englishman's way of speaking absolutely classifies him. The moment he talks, he makes some other Englishman despise him. Use proper English and you're regarded as a freak. Oh, why can't the English learn to speak?
I think we can stop it here. So, whoops, people are asking me to be admitted. That's not your average jazz album, right? That's sort of a different approach. Did anybody have any observations about this, listening to it in terms of the other jazz records that they've listened to?
I feel like this one's a lot more rooted in like the musical that it's like coming from, like compared to other like musical inspired jazz records that I've listened to, such as like the West Side Story from last week and other things like Coltrane's Favorite Things. This feels a lot more like it could be off of a Broadway stage.
Okay. Well, I think that's a very good observation. It's obviously a very meticulous musical arrangement of the music that they chose to use. So one of the things that's always struck me about this record is the writing is very, very complex, and it is very theatrical, but musically it's also really stretching the boundaries of traditional big band writing. Just first off, just in the instrumentation, but the way that they use the bass is featured very prominently in that little overture section and going into the first song of the record. So there's already just a real sense of the importance of the ensemble, and that's going to be a thread that runs through the entire record. So let's talk a second about the writing. Did anybody notice who the arranger was?
John Williams.
John Williams, exactly. So this was done in 1964, so he was relatively new on the scene, but he was becoming a well-known composer, but he also was a very well-known jazz pianist. So I think that this record is also kind of a preview of what John Williams is going to do with the rest of his life in terms of, just absolutely brilliant writing. Then the two leads on this record, Shelley Mann got a vocalist, one of my favorite vocalists who died very, very early in her career, named Irene Krall. And she obviously sang the female lead. And then the male lead was sung by a guy who was very famous in the 60s named Jack Sheldon. He was a trumpet player, very fine trumpet player, but he doesn't play on this record. But he was also a comedian and a singer and a character actor. So, and also had, as you probably noticed, a very kind of unusual singing style. Let's move forward a little bit and get a feeling of what the female lead is like. Can we go to the, Wouldn't It Be Lovely? That's,
Why can't the English?
All I want is a room somewhere far away from the cold night air, with one enormous chair. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Lots of chocolate for me to eat, lots of coal making lots of heat, warm face, warm hands, warm feet. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely? Oh, so loverly, sitting absolutely still. I would but never budge till spring crept over my windowsill. Someone's head resting on my knee, warm and tender as he can be, who takes good care of me. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
Right, let this play into the next track for just a couple seconds. Okay, we can stop it now. So I wanted to let it play past the end of the arrangement of Wouldn't It Be Lovely and into the arrangement of With a Little Bit of Luck, which is an instrumental arrangement. So up to this point, we've gone through basically the first three, well, we're into the third track of the record. And how much improvisation has there been? Has anybody been keeping track? Really noticed whether there's a lot of improvisation or a lack of improvisation?
I think it's like turned into like specific sections.
Right.
And judging by those sections, I feel like it's just the right amount of improv needed for each piece.
I totally agree with you. I think the improvisation is used sparingly, but in some ways that makes it more effective. Because as I was saying on Friday, the majority of jazz albums are improvisation. You know, you play the song, then everybody takes a solo, then you play the song again, then you go on to the next cut. Now that's obviously a very basic description, and I can't say too much about improvisation as the real backbone of jazz, but still, it's, to me, very nice to hear all this through composed music. And the other thing I wanted to point out is that this record, there's really no break in between the songs. They transition from one song into the next song. And there have been a lot of records made that have used that technique and a lot of pop records. But, once again, this was 1964. This was a long time ago. And I think that was a bit of a departure. And I think it was also a bit of a departure to give an arranger that much room on a supposed jazz album to write that much through composed music. So I just think that there are a lot of really notable things going on in this record that haven't received a lot of attention. Like I said, with a little bit of luck is just an instrumental. I'd like to move on to The Rain in Spain, because this is the only arrangement on the entire album that has both leads singing at the same time. So let's listen to that.
to the dome, then get on to the enthralling fun of overhauling you. Oh, let a woman in your...
This is a good place.
I'm an ordinary
sorry.
man.
Wrong track.
All the same.
Yes, this is perfect.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
I think she's got it. I think she's got it.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
By George, she's got it. By George, she's got it. Now once again, where does it rain?
On the plain, on the plain.
And where's that soggy place?
In Spain, in Spain. The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
You got it.
You think so?
You really got it.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
In Hartford, Harrisford, and Hampshire,
Hurricanes hardly happen.
now once again, where does it rain?
On the plain, on the plain.
And where's that blasted place?
In Spain, in Spain.
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. You got it! You got it! The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain. Once again, where does it rain?
On the plain, on the plain.
And where's that blasted plane?
In Spain, the rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
You got it! You got it!
The rain in Spain stays mainly in the plain.
Okay, let's stop it there. I wanted to let that go for a few minutes so you could hear the transition between The Rain in Spain and I Could Have Danced All Night. So The Rain in Spain is one of the more, well, I can't really say that because there are some hit songs in here. I've grown accustomed to Her Face, especially probably the biggest hit in the whole show. But The Rain in Spain is a song that gets played a lot and has kind of become a novelty song. It's got very clever lyrics, very clever rhymes to it, but there is that playfulness in the arrangement, but then when it gets into the transition, it really changes the tone of the improvisation from something that's, you know, very straightforward to this kind of contrapuntal things going on between the trumpet and the drums. There's this real conversation going on. It's one of my favorite pieces of writing. And there are certain sections of this that I don't know how many of you have listened to Stan Kenton. And I think, Jason, I'd be interested to hear your opinion on this, but I hear a lot of Stan Kenton in this. You think that's true, Jason?
I think it's better than a lot of Stan Kenton, personally. I mean, especially from this era.
Yeah, better, definitely.
I think the arrangements are more, I get what you're saying, like, especially the brass writing, just
Right.
the kind of monolithic trumpets all in unison on a high G. That's
Exactly.
very Stan Kenton. I think the small group stuff is much more imaginative than you hear in a lot of Stan Kenton. But I think the larger, the way it's orchestrated, yeah, absolutely.
I was talking about mostly the orchestrations and just that, you know, kind of power that section can have really being utilized. And Stan Kenton loved to do that. And Shelley Mann actually played with Stan Kenton for many, many years and probably gained a lot of his fame because of his association with Stan Kenton. And always, I mean, he played with a lot of small groups, but he was also considered to be one of the premier big band drummers. And he was with Woody Herman. Some of Woody Herman's very famous bands had Shelley Mann in them. And that love of big bands really carried through his entire career. So, okay, so at that point, hang on a second. we were talking on Friday also about record albums and first side as opposed to the second side. So the last selection on the first side is I Could Have Danced All Night, which is actually another instrumental. We're kind of running short on time, so we're not going to listen to that. But those of you who haven't listened to this album, I really strongly encourage you to do so, because there are a lot of things on this record that I think sort of set the tone for what's to come in various people's careers, especially John Williams. So in any case, the second side starts with Ascot Gravatt. And there's I think there's only one vocal song. No, two vocal songs on the second side. No, three, I'm sorry. But yeah, let's listen to On the Street Where You Live, and then let's move on from there. So once again, a heavily reharmonized treatment of that song. Let's go to Show Me. And we'll just listen to a little bit of that.
Tonight, oh man, you did it. You did it. You did it.
Yeah, we got to go a little bit further than that. But I love that too. There we go.
Above, if you're in love, show me. Tell me no dreams filled with desire. If you're on fire, show me. Here we are together in the middle of the night. Don't talk of spring, just hold me tight. Anyone who's ever been in love will tell you that this is no time for a chat. Have Haven't your lips long for my touch? Don't say how much. Show me, show me. Don't talk of love lasting through time. Make me know I'm dying now. Show me now.
Okay, I think we can stop it here. So now we're coming to the end of the show. This is the last vocal. And it's actually, this is one of my favorite songs from the entire musical. And also a treatment with a lot of adventurous harmonic writing in it. No improvisation. We heard before On the Street Where You Live, which became somewhat of a piano feature. So we're coming up to the end of the record, and I realize that we're starting to run out of time. So I just wanted to ask before we go any further, because we could stop here. I wanted to know if anybody has anything to share from the improvisation assignment that we talked about on Friday. Did anybody record anything? Bring their instrument to?
I recorded an arrangement of Mary Had a Little Lamb.
Oh, great! Can you play it?
Yeah, if I share my screen and do my audio once.
I just made you a co-host, Zach. You should be able to share your screen.
Okay.
But when you share your screen, you have to check the box to share your audio as well.
Do you know what corner that's is that in audio settings or?
No, you need to stop sharing your screen.
Okay.
And then share it again. And there's a checkbox at the bottom of this.
I see. Okay.
Cool.
Cool.
I wanted to, in hindsight, I would have like used more of the actual melody in the improv, and also
Okay.
probably would have put more of it in like the comping, in the like the guitar and bass parts. But
Well,
hindsight's 2020.
really, real well, and that's why you do it, because then the next time you do it, you know all that stuff from the first time you did
Right.
it. But I thought that was really, really inventive. I enjoyed it very, very much. Now, did you find the fact that this is a melody that you've known since childhood, or I'm assuming that you've known since childhood, how did that play into your improvisational experience?
It's easier now. If you think of improvising in just melodies and just playing melodies, you wind up with a lot. You at least in my experience, you wind up being a lot more inventive, and where you can like you see where you can fit them into things.
Right.
And it just if you're thinking about like just melodies, like Mary Had a Little Lamb can fit almost anywhere. You can fit it into and if you're playing through changes, you can sort of do it in any mode you want that that uses that ascending whole tone step. You can use it like over altered, like in an altered scale and a whole tone scale, and it kind of works wherever you can.
And because we recognize that rhythm so easily, that that can also be incorporated, even if you're like way outside the tonal center of the song, you can always fall back on the rhythmic motif of that da 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 da. Very, very simple, but because we all know it, your ear locks into it. And to me, as when I'm improvising, I'm always trying to think of things that are going to draw other people in. I'm trying to speak to not just the people on the bandstand, but if anybody is listening, and just trying to change my thought patterns to fit that perspective. So, and I thought you did that extremely well. So, congratulations. That's a really, really great example.
It was pretty sloppy, but
no, I didn't think so at all. I thought it was great. So don't put yourself down. It was really, really good. Very, very creative. Anybody else have any observations or any experiences from doing the improv?
Yeah, I was gonna pitch in and say, first of all, I really liked Zach. I really loved your arrangement. That was really cool. But I didn't record anything, but I kind of came up with this idea. I actually have my horn on me right now if you guys want to hear it.
Yeah, so I'd love to hear it.
So I chose Happy Birthday. I just played it in the key of C because it's the easiest one. Yeah. But I kind of stuck with this triplet feel. Let me put this on for a second.
Okay.
This triplet idea in my head that I had going on the other day. And so I'm going to play that right now. If my neck will go on. There we go. It's not super fleshed out, but I kind of like this idea. Can everyone hear that? Is that too loud? Okay. So Happy Birthday in C is just. But then I took it, so that's in 3/4, and I took it and kind of spun it into 4/4, and then put a little bit of blues behind it.
Oh, I like it already.
Yeah.
Yeah, Megan.
Hell yeah.
Great. Hang on a second. Let me grab my bass. So you can build off of what you were just doing by, you said, you know, I could hear the blues influences in there, but you can also. I'm sorry, I got lost. But I was trying to, you know, if you take that blues scale, you were doing it in C or?
I was doing it in my C, so I think that's, is that A?
Okay.
Yeah, it's A.
Right.
That's E flat.
My bad,
flat?
sorry. I went the other way, yeah.
E flat.
Yep.
So. So there are other chord tones that you can use there that, you know, would definitely pull it more into the blues. But
Right.
I think what you had going on was very, very inventive. I like the way that you changed the meter, because the meter changes can be so effective, especially with songs that we've known, you know, our whole lives.
Right.
How many, can I see a show of hands? How many people know the Cannonball Adderley, or actually it's Joe Zawinul composition called Mercy, Mercy, Mercy?
Yeah.
Okay, I had a friend who wrote a tune based on Mercy, 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 but he did it in retrograde inversion. So it was Mercy, Mercy, Mercy backwards. And it is so cool. I mean, I wish I had a recording to play for you, but I misplaced it. This is going back years and years ago. So those kind of things are great to experiment with. And yeah, I really enjoyed, you know, what you did with that, Megan.
Thank you.
Anybody else? We're sort of running out of time. Is there anybody else who wants to share something? Okay, well, let's talk about the assignment that I did for today, which is really not an assignment as much as a reference. But actually, Megan, this would kind of go along with what you were just doing. I call it the magic scale. And the magic scale is a major scale with a lowered third. That's the easiest way to think of it. So I printed out a couple of different ideas, ways that you can work on this, and also the explanation of it from this book, which I highly recommend, called Scales for Jazz Improvisation. So like I said, it's pretty self-explanatory, but just very, very quickly, I know everybody has to go. That's a major scale with a lowered third. So what I'm asking or suggesting people do is they take that scale, so we'll stay in C, and then you build another scale off of every degree. So from the second degree would be starting on D natural. Third degree, which would be the lowered third, so the E flat. Then the F, and so on and so forth. So within that, and by doing that, starting the scale on different degrees, you come up with just an amazing amount of scales that will fit over altered chords, or you can just call them altered scales. But the reason I'm suggesting this book is because they're all in here under one name or another. So once again, I suggest learning that in every key, And that way it will start to, this is such an unusual scale. And when you play it against, like for instance, I cite that if you start on the 4th degree, what you get is a dominant scale with a raised 4th. Which you can use that scale over any dominant 7th chord and dominant 7th chord with a sharp 11. So I'm trying to demonstrate that something that we kind of know, because everybody knows their major scales. So all you have to do is lower the 3rd, and I'm assuming everybody knows their minor scales. So if you just think of that in that one way, and then start to learn it in other ways in different keys, the melodic structure of that scale will sort of become like an earworm, and it'll stay with you and it'll give you material to play on altered chords. So I think oh God, I've gone over. Jason, are we over?
We are over. So
okay,
thank you very much.
I just want to say thank you to everybody. I really enjoyed being here with you. I'm happy to come anytime, and good luck with the rest of the semester. And I look forward when I can see all of you in the same rehearsal space together playing your instruments. And I hope that happens very, very soon. So
me too. Amen.
Please take care.
Thank you so much, Paul.